welcome to We Got a Podcast, a podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z, from Earth to Namek to Sadala. We cover it all. My name is Randy.
And I'm Doug.
And I'm the Planet Eater Ken.
Whoa.
Yummy. Tasty. We're the world's strongest under the heavens trio de dangers here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. Doug, you were gone last time, so...
Yes, I was in the ether. Dude, this is the first time I actually did something in my life and like got out there. I went to Otakon and it was amazing. But no, went to Otakon, met up with a bunch of online friends, real life friends. Mike and Mary, you might know them. I met Brett, I met Albert, I met Bryce and his wife, and it was a great time. I competed in Iron Editor of all things, where for those that don't know, it's where I have to create an AMV within 2 hours, and usually it takes me like 2 years to make an AMV. So this was a complete out of my comfort zone type thing that I accomplished. Man, I was stressing for the past 2 weeks, but hey, I'm proud of myself. I did it.
You did do it, and I saw that video. It kicked ass. So.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I loved making it. It was very much. I used the song "Espresso" by Sabrina Carpenter, who I love, and she's a sweetheart. Personally, I know her, and
she watches the show.
She does. She's a big watcher. Yeah. She supports. She funds the series. She buys me all these figures. So, but I'm never able to use her songs for like Dragon Ball because it's like really it would never connect. So to be able to have this chance to use it with the song that I'm obsessed with was great, and I loved it. And I didn't win, but I won in my heart because I was just super proud that I was able to do something within 2 hours in front of an audience and everything. And I got to sneak in a Dragon Ball in there. So if you guys want to check out that AMV, it's up on the We Got a Pod channel. And go show it some love because I loved it.
Heck yeah, man. That was super great. And I'm just glad to have you back. We had Jake on. He was an absolute sweetheart.
Really thank you, Jake, for taking over.
Yeah, you got to chit-chat about Dragon Ball AF, so you got to be spared that, Doug. So
yeah, I was very happy when I was like, you know what, can I skip this? I need the time to practice for this competition, and it's AF? Yeah, I'm out of here.
It was the perfect storm, the perfect reason where you could actually get out of here. So
yeah.
It worked out just well for you. But otherwise, we had Ken, and that means I've got to ask, Ken, what's new with you?
Hey, man, I'm still slowly working my way through G Gundam. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about because I'm here to talk about Moro. The people want Moro. I'm ready to talk about Moro.
Is that what we're talking about this time?
What have you been up to?
Oh, man, I've got a couple of things. Like a couple of months ago, I picked up, and I'm going to show it on camera, so I'm sorry for audio listeners, but I will describe. It is a knockoff Game Boy Advance SP.
Oh, a knockoff.
Yeah, it's a Anbernic RG35XX SP.
I'm just going to call it a Game Girl.
Yeah, that's what you should call it. But I made custom stickers on it, so now it says Anbernic instead of Nintendo. And then also I styled the back sticker off of the actual Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP sticker. But I made new logos for this and everything to make it look official and stuff. Nice. But it's nice. But I decided I had this for 2 months, but I haven't really used it. So I decided I'm going to use this thing. So I played Dragon Ball Advance Adventure for the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Yeah, man. And I used a ROM hack to really enjoy it in that. So the game came out in Japan, came out in Europe, and came out here. In Europe, they kept the Japanese voices for the sound and everything in there. But they swapped out some of the actual, like, music songs. Like, I think, the opening to Dragon Ball is swapped out for whatever. So this puts those back in. So it's using all the original music and then using, Monsuke Nozawa for Goku's voice actor and stuff in there.
Oh, yeah. I guess if you're going to hack it, you might as well do it the way you want.
Right, exactly. So did that, and that was pretty fun. I don't know. It'd be nice if we would get more games like that because it's like a side-scrolling brawler sort of thing. Yeah,
that's why I loved it so much.
Right, and then there's weird one-on-one fights where now the mechanics are different, and it's kind of like a fighting game. It's strange that they swap it up like that, but that's cool. And then right now on it, I'm playing Metroid Zero Mission. I've played Fusion before. I've never played Super Metroid, I've played it a little. I didn't ever get super far, or Samus Returns or anything like that. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back, start at the beginning. Zero Mission, which is a remake of the first game, and that's been a lot of fun. And other than that, I caught up on one other gaming thing, which was I bought Portal 2 when it came out, and then I didn't play it.
Are you serious?
My Steam was like playtime 5 minutes. Last launched March 2013.
That's gotta be in like my top 10 games of all time.
Really, Portal 2.
Yeah.
You gotta play with a friend though too.
I could do that, but I didn't. I just played by myself, and I finished it on Saturday or Sunday. And man, Ken, I see why. That game whips ass.
Yeah.
Well, did you do the multiplayer? Is totally separate set of puzzles.
Oh, I figured as much. So I'm gonna have to give that a try.
Yeah.
But like even just the single player, like, man, what a great experience. That was so fun. Turns things on its head, and the writing is top notch. So
you know, they released that game on PS3.
It's the only way that you can install Steam on the PS3.
Exactly, yeah. You could access the Steam client on a PS3 and chat with your friends, which I did.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a smartphone back then.
Yeah, that's right. It would have been the only way to really do that. Nerds is the
right.
That,
the PC way to say it.
Yeah, exactly. We're taking it back.
I want to point out, I know I said this to you guys before, but that the outline shows like, okay, what have we been up to? Doug, Otakon, Ken, no time. We're going to talk about Moro. And then Randy, you just can't resist yourself to talk a list of games that you've been playing. But yeah, let's go, man. Let's do this.
All right, let's do it. So we had announced last time that our long-suffering campaign has finally come to a close, and Doug agreed.
Your long-suffering campaign.
I mean, it's like episode 1.
Yeah. So it took us 88 episodes, but here we are. Doug, I think, he hasn't confirmed if he has or not, read some Dragon Ball Super.
Oops. Was that today? Was this episode to talk about it? Oh, man.
Man, you're going to be in big trouble. It's just going to be spoiler city here for you. So we made a compromise with Doug. We weren't going to make him read chapter 1 and relive Super and all of that stuff. Instead,
it's a little redundant if I did that, so...
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that are different here and there, which we will cover. But we decided we're going to jump into the new stuff with the Moro Arc, the Galactic Prisoner Arc here. So we did. We started here. We started with Volume 9, which is the end of the Tournament of Power at the beginning, but then the majority of it is the Moro stuff. And then we also did Volume 10, just for fun and to get a little further into the story. So... this is kind of our first time really talking about the manga. So what is it? What's the history of this? Ken, I know that you are kind of the resident historian and timeline engineer. So do you want to tackle this?
Yeah, so Dragon Ball Super is the comicalization, to borrow a term from Kanzenshuu, the comicalization of Dragon Ball Super's story. It's not based on the anime, and the anime is not based on the manga. They're kind of two things that ran alongside, both adapting drafts from Toriyama as they went along. A good way to think about this is if you're familiar with the Evangelion manga, it's also the same kind of thing, not based on the anime is not based on the manga. They're two things that were pulling from the same source as they went along. Now we're at the part where the anime has ended. The anime ended in 2018. Far surpassed where the manga was at a certain point. Early on, the manga was ahead of the anime, and the anime pushed way past it and finished while Super was still like in the late Future Trunks arc or early Tournament of Power or something like that.
Sounds about right.
So we were kind of suffering through the Tournament of Power again for a long time. And then in, I guess it was the end of 2019 or 2020, that it finally wrapped up. Because the Broly movie came out and they wanted to have some fresh content out there for you to consume that wasn't just based on the anime. And then they had the Moro Arc, which takes place after the Tournament of Power, after Dragon Ball Super Broly. Bam, there we are. That's where we're at. That's what this is, what we're looking at.
Exactly. Our first actual continuation of that main story. And it is what it is. There was a really great episode of the Kanzenshuu podcast, episode 49, where Mike sat down with Ian, otherwise known as Cypher, kind of going over things at the time of like, what is the deal with the manga? Who's writing what? Like, these credits. Toriyama's the writer, illustrated by Toyotaro, according to Viz. Like, what does that mean? So they really break it down. Definitely give that a check. But really what it comes down to is Toriyama is not writing the panels here. It's especially at this point, it's more Toyotaro and Toriyama's kind of signing off on things. Is that correct? A good summarization, Ken?
Right. You heard me use the phrase, or I said Toriyama had drafts for all of Super. For the arc that we're reading right now, Doug, is the only time in all of Super that Toriyama is not attributed with Genon or original draft.
Oh.
And the absence, not exactly. The absence thereof leads you to believe, among other things, that this was largely a Toyotaro-driven work in the way that they've made other comments as well.
From here on out, or just this specific arc?
Just this arc.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is strange.
Makes you feel like Toriyama wasn't satisfied with him doing that, and so he came back.
No, we'll get into it later, but for those
My speculation.
who are more interested and maybe more, if you're more familiar with Moro Granola and the superhero adaptation, maybe go check out Kanzenshu 489, because it at that point was covering what was going on in Granola and Moro, so there might be light spoilers being discussed there. But for this purpose, we'll go ahead and leave it at this, Doug, just so that you know it's not like Toriyama was hands-off. Toriyama was deeply involved, but this was still largely, as it seems, it's the same way where we're 99% sure that, I said that weird, 99% sure that Toyotaro was Toyble. We're 99% sure that this was largely a Toyotaro-driven project. But
Gotcha.
It's the kind of thing where, especially now, they'll probably would never say otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah. So, like we said, we were going to jump straight ahead into Moro, but there are some things that differ between the manga Dragon Ball Super and the anime Dragon Ball Super. And we kind of wanted to...
Boy, are there.
Oh, yeah. Ken is so diligent and, just a scholar. He put together this long list of all of the nice little intricate changes, sent them to me, and I was like, we gotta cut it down. Doug's going to get hung up on stuff, and we'll be here for hours. So trim it down. That's why we love you. You care. That's why you get hung up. So, Ken, what are some of the big changes here in the manga versus the anime in terms of the stuff leading up to Moro?
So the two big things is that there's no Golden Frieza and no Broly adaptations here. Frieza is kind of told through narration and through like a dream flashback at one point.
So the events happened. We just don't see him in the manga.
Correct. Yes, and Broly happens in a one panel in between Tournament of Power and Moro. And then they touch on it and show bits and pieces of it later on where appropriate. But largely, those two movies are not retold in this manga. We see Super Saiyan God a lot more in this manga. If you remember in the anime, we only see it in the Beerus arc, God of Destruction. Battle of Gods is the name of that movie. And we see it again in the Tournament of Power, but we don't ever see it anywhere in between there. But in the manga, it shows up once each arc. So Goku uses Super Saiyan God against Hit. He does not use Blue Kaioken, which is ironic because Toyotaro did art for that Blue Kaioken figure arts, but that was never actually drawn by him in the manga. So just a fun fact.
Interesting.
Vegeta uses Super Saiyan God against Goku Black Rose. Goku says of Vegeta using it, Super Saiyan Blue brings out enormous power, but you can't fight in that form for long. However, the God form is well balanced by comparison. It doesn't consume much energy either. The very instant Vegeta throws an attack, he switches to Super Saiyan Blue. Unlike when I fought Hit, Vegeta is able to repeat that over and over again.
Whoa.
Vegeta has a new Gamma Burst Flash attack, which I don't actually remember if he uses against Moro at any point, but if you see it, it's something he's done a few times before. It's not going to be surprising.
What does it look like for the audio listeners?
For the audio listeners, let me paint you a word picture. Is that I don't remember. I don't remember.
He holds his hands out in some fashion and does a blast. So
he does one of these or one of these or one of these.
Does this jazz hands. You know how it is.
That's Vegeta's technique.
Goku uses Super Saiyan God against Toppo in a preliminary match. Again, so we're seeing that happen more often than in the manga. Toyotaro's not afraid to use Super Saiyan God. Goku and Dende discuss Oob, and we actually get to see Oob as they're looking down on him.
Oh, wow.
Just establishing, like, hey, we know End of Z exists, so like, let's actually look at Oob.
To acknowledge it.
what's probably going to be the most important change here in how we're going to look at this arc and then in Super going forward is how Ultra Instinct is handled. So in the manga, Roshi implies to Goku that Goku's been training his whole life to learn Ultra Instinct in comments that Karin have made, Popo has made, and that Kaio has made. They have all had actual lines in the original work that hint that this is what Goku was always building towards.
What?
And Toyotaro pulls all that out and has like Goku remember it on page.
Damn. Toyotaro.
Roshi in helping Goku remember this is like, hey, check it out. I'll show you what this looks like. And then goes toe to toe with Jiren. Roshi uses a proto form of Ultra Instinct against Jiren.
Why?
Ultimately, he still gets knocked out, but yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, he's master. It makes sense.
Goku learning Ultra Instinct comes from self-realization in the manga and not some dumb failed Genkidama.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's great.
So, other than that, there's just like a ton of small things that, again, like Randy said, we'll be here all night talking about it.
Okay.
The biggest changes are in Goku Black and the Tournament of Power. I would even argue to say just in the Goku Black stuff is the hugest amount of significant changes. Tournament of Power there's a lot too. Like, for instance, Kale knocks like half of the contestants out. Because, in the anime, they had to show every fight, everyone getting knocked out. And in the manga, they're just like, Kale goes berserk and like literally knocks everyone out. So,
because I mean, at that point, the manga was kind of trailing behind the anime. So it's like, well, how do we clean up some time here? Like,
just whoosh. I mean, I'm sure you see a bunch of dots of characters falling off the.
Right.
So that brings us to the Moro arc.
It's true. It does. So we can finally start. And I had written. Well, I wrote a really nice intro that didn't live up to Ken's standards. Ken decided he needed to rewrite it himself. So I feel that Ken should be the one that has to read his beautiful words. So Ken, please enlighten us. What is this?
Immediately after reconvening with Broly and company on Vampa at the end of Dragon Ball Super, Broly, probably, Goku meets up with Vegeta, only to be interrupted by news of the Galactic Patrol kidnapping Majin Buu, who has been asleep since the Tournament of Power. This sudden development leads Goku and Vegeta into a whirlwind adventure as they come face to face with the ancient escaped convict, Moro the Planet Eater. What terrible tribulations will torment our haggard heroes on New Namek next?
Man, you even added more alliteration. I don't know why I even bother with this show. I quit. Ken's in charge. Bye.
No, we need you, Randy.
Okay. Well, I'll take the compliment as it is. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Let's start off with a big picture temperature check. And Ken and I have talked a lot about how we feel about Moro. And
yeah,
this has been years in the making. Doug,
what do you feel? Bye.
How do you feel about this? The volumes 9 and 10 that we've read so far.
I know you guys don't want to hear this, but after I read it, after reading it, I don't get it. I don't get what took me so long in the reading. This is some fantastic story. This was a delight.
Had me until the end. Whoa.
Man, I don't know what it was. Maybe like you guys did it right in the making me read AF first, this horrible series of manga, coming to this was like, whoa, this is what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. It made sense and it didn't feel hokey. And man, I want to read more. More of Moro. Give me that. Ken, I now understand. I already understand no Moro, no buy for Sparking Zero. I already get it.
You're already looking at figure arts.
Yep, I am.
You're going over to your figures like, all right, I got to draw the Galactic Patrol thing on Vegeta's
on everything.
Here.
They have that as a third-party accessory on one of the Gokus, and I might now bite the trigger on that. Bite the trigger? You know me. Come on.
Doug, I missed you so much. Oh, that's so good. Okay, well, Ken, do you like this? No, of course, you hate this.
This is like my third or fourth time revisiting this stuff, and what always stands out to me, or probably stands out more this time, is specifically how Goku is written here. This feels like Toyotaro said, you know what, forget how Super up to this point was trying to handle Goku. I'm really going to take Goku back to being a natural extension of where he was in the Buu arc, in that he's like serious, he's plotting, he's like the only one who realizes something's up. He's like looks over the trees and sees
the tree like
Vegeta, calm down, like hold on. He's like, he's in the moment in a way that he hasn't been in a long time.
He's been like dumb Goku in Dragon Ball Super anime.
Yeah, and it's just like the hairs on my arm are standing on end. The way that Toyotaro understands Goku and Vegeta here, in their current incarnations of where they are. Like, yes, we still have Vegeta saying like, Kakarot, I don't want to fight with you anymore. But like we see on the page, that's not what happens. Like, he's still willing to fight alongside Goku. So it's not an issue, right?
He says it, but it's not like
he's always bluffing, but he knows in the moment, like if it's got to come to it, he will, right? And he's a thinker. This is back to like Vegeta, like standing back, like the whole thing with Moro, where he's like, "Oh, I don't have any more techniques. I'm done."
When he said that, I'm like, I know that's not true.
Yeah. Toyotaro understands this world, and the fact that there was no draft from Toriyama for this, and Toyotaro got to like, and Doug, you haven't even seen the half of it yet.
I know.
Toyotaro like picking from continuity and bringing everything in and tying stuff into a world and making it feel cohesive. It's just like crazy. It's just a brilliant work, and it's better every time I read it.
Better, like just from like I knew like from hearing around like this whole time that Toyotaro was this guy who like knew the story super well. He would do callbacks and everything. It was the moment, I think, when Vegeta and Goku land on New Namek. And it was kind of weird for me. Well, I mean, my own headcanon was like, oh, I wish Vegeta, upon first arriving on New Namek, would be like just super polite to all the Namekians because of how much he regretted, killing off a lot of people from there. But then it kind of like Toyotaro does it in an even better way by like saving a kid and then being like, I'm not letting anyone. I'm not going to do my best to make sure no one here dies because I've wronged this planet and I'm trying to make it right, kind of thing. It was cool.
It's such a good man. It's such a good story.
Toyotaro knows what he's doing.
Ken, you also touched on it. One of my favorite things is just how plugged in Toyotaro is to the story of Dragon Ball, to these characters, and then being able to pull all of these little threads that were in the original manga and make something new.
Cranberry,
reference the past.
Just him as a character. I'm like, how? What is this character?
Right? Oh, it's so good. So genius. So I'm glad that we're all here on the hype train. So that's going to be good. It's going to be a good time. Let's just jump into volume 9. So I just put a couple of highlights here, and I figured we could use this as sort of our guiding light here. So we kind of start out with Goku and Vegeta are training. This is almost immediately after Broly, and they get notified, hey, somebody is trying to kidnap Buu. Which is such a strange way to start off an arc, and that's like the last thing you'd think of.
Who's kidnapping him? He's probably just asleep. But I love immediately off the bat, we get like Goku and Vegeta like best buds, just like conversing while battling. Like this is just their Saturday evening. They just seem like such good friends at this point where they're not saying like, hey, I love you, man, but they're like just like they're doing their thing and they're cool with it.
It's their Mario Kart.
Yeah, it's their
Vegeta seems like legitimately interested in Goku's life. He's like, so how's that Ultra Instinct going? Have you been able to figure it out yet?
Dude, and Toyotaro needed to put that in there for a future plot, like just to get that thing rolling like that. He doesn't have it right now, or he hasn't mastered it. Like, why aren't you using it, Goku? It's like, oh, because of that line right there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't remember if there was something in the manga of the Tournament of Power arc, but there's also at the very end of the Super anime when they're doing their fights. Like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I can't just do it on, on command. And Vegeta also can't do his thing that he had at the end of the Tournament of Power on command. So putting that in there, being like, hey, you figured that out yet? Because he also didn't use it against Broly. So there's got to be, something going on. Yeah, exactly. They go and they try to see what's going on with trying to kidnap Buu, like what's happening. And we kind of get the lowdown of like, okay, here's the setup for the whole thing. There's a guy, he's very strong, and he was put in prison thanks to the help of the Kaioshin, the Lord of Lords, right? Is that
the Dai Kaioshin?
Right. Yes. So then we get this really cool flashback. Everybody back then fighting Moro, especially the Dai Kaioshin. And I don't know. It's just sick.
We don't get everyone. It's just these two, right? The Lore Lords and the South
And it's
guy?
the two who Boo absorbed.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So very cool to be like, oh, here's just a flashback to 5 million years ago.
10. Oh, yeah,
10.
yeah, you're right. 5. No,
10.
no.
10?
10.
No,
Are you sure?
Five is when he gets absorbed, but Moro's been around for 10?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Moro
flashback 10 million years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. My bad. But
So
very cool to have that.
I bring that up because 10 million years ago is one of the oldest dates we have in Dragon Ball. Just between
Prior to this?
Beerus sealing the Elder Kaioshin in the Zed Sword 75 million years ago,
Whoa.
and then Boo's Rampage 5 million years
That's
ago.
such a ridiculous time. It's just like
yeah.
gajillion, bajillion, bajillion time. Like, you might as well just say that at that point.
And it's weird that the Galactic Police at that point there's the guy who still like looks like Jocko. Like that race didn't evolve at all over 10 million years.
Yeah. And what a delight is it to see Jocko again. I've loved Jocko since Toriyama's first run of him and going into what is it, Resurrection F. Yeah, no, I love Jocko.
Well, speaking of other Toriyama works here real quick, just in case this ends up being a trivia bit later.
Oh, no.
One of the Galactic Patrol members looks just like Gia, who was a comic that was written by Toriyama and drawn by Masaku Katsura and written by Toriyama. And I think the Galactic Police are also like a plot point in that story as well. So just, again, Toyotaro, not that that's necessarily canonical to Dragon Ball, but Toriyama or Toyotaro, like, just pulling in little bits.
There was a line in there where they said they used to be called the Galactic Police. Is there any significance to that? That's kind of weird.
It's probably just a callback to Geo.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of, I assume, upgrading stuff. I also just wanted to quick correct Ken. Masakazu Katsura.
What did I say?
You said Masaku.
You said Stephen Williamson.
Stephen Williamson.
There you go.
The
Big flub on your part, but I'll let it slide.
Thing in here that I didn't really include, because I just kind of blew past it, was the whole, oh gosh, I gotta say this right, the Macareni siblings, and this whole thing happens in this arc.
The punks or whatever, like the the evil guys.
Right.
Thieves.
Robbing a train in space, Yeah.
As
As bad guys do. Trying to steal Blue Aurum on planet Jung. Is that right?
Which is like Sky Gold, which is the fuel source in Jocko.
Oh, cool. Toyotaro, you son of a bitch.
Right?
Like he also like these characters seem like nothing characters, but they become important later on in the plot for exposition purposes. And yeah, he just does this so well. Like it doesn't seem too out of like AF. Just keep comparing it to that.
Well, like AF, the Kai Kai Matoru is extremely similar to another technique that Kibito Kaioshin uses in Toyble's AF.
What's the move?
It's the sealing move.
Oh, okay.
This was a long time ago now, Doug, so I don't expect you to remember, but
I don't.
Kibito Kaioshin in AF uses almost the exact same technique with almost the exact same name. And this is him just like bringing back his hits. He's like, okay, this is something that's always been in his mind. Yeah. And it almost makes me wonder how far back in like decades plus was Moro rattling around in Toyotaro's mind as like an eventual villain someday.
I mean, because you do see all the hits here where a lot of stuff feels familiar. Like it's like, oh, this is the Piccolo Daimao arc again. Oh, this is the Cell saga again. Like you get little bits and pieces of like this familiarity, but it doesn't ever feel like straight ripped off as AF did.
Right. He's weaving together a new story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The fact that Moro has magic is keeping me like hooked. Like, oh, there's something new that we're not used to.
Right, exactly. I wanted to touch on this real quick. We get introduced to, of course, we've got the Galactic Patrol, we've got Jocko. We get introduced to a new character, Merus, who is Niles's wife, I believe. And we never see her face.
A Frasier?
Yes.
Why do I know that? I don't have a lick of Frasier in my life. You guys keep talking about Frasier, seeping into my mind.
Shin Frasier. Merus is coming back. She's part of the Galactic Patrol now.
It all ties together. Things. Toyotaro, huge Frasier fan.
Right, exactly. What's your read on this guy, Doug?
He gives me the same vibes as this new character that was released in Daima, the punk looking guy. I don't know. I mean, he's a dude. It's kind of weird that Goku immediately like says, "Oh, are you evil?" or whatever. Like it's very like black and white kind of thinking from Goku, which was weird to immediately attack. But yeah, no, he's got some things up his sleeve. He's like really fast and agile.
Vegeta's immediately suspicious of him.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what kind of tips off Goku is Vegeta's like, I've got my eye on this guy. So Goku's like, I'm
sure he's that character that's like going to be super like important or he'll be very resourceful. He'll be useful to the plot somehow. He's got that bowl cut. Everyone with the bowl cut's always resourceful.
You've always got to have the bowl cut somewhere in every arc.
Rock Lee, dude.
So they're all worried about this Moro dude, the planet eater, the goat man, who's broken loose and is on the way to New Namek to get.
Can I tell you quickly just how quickly I went from this goat guy to like no, this guy's Moro. Like that shift for me from reading like this is like immediately like I don't see him as the goat man anymore. Like he's Moro. He's a guy. He's a character.
But
right? Oh wow.
The genius of like, Moro's headed for New Namek, but it's like, why does he know to go there? And it's because he was in prison with Cranberry. And then this goes into the little bonus comic that's at the end of volume 10 that shows us how Cranberry got there. And it's like, Toyotaro is such a genius in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He shows us things that we want to see. That we never knew we wanted to see. And flips it on its head. Like from the anime and manga original, you see the shot from like Zarbon's perspective of him kicking Cranberry away, and then in this you see it from Cranberry's perspective, him himself being kicked away. It's like that's that guy. Oh my god, that's that guy that got kicked.
It still requires a lot of
the guy in Tsunami that we all saw in the commercials as a like little a funny thing like like it was great.
There's still a lot of ingenuity to even find out that New Namek exists. First of all, but he's resourceful. That's
one thing I don't like was the New Namek Goku being like, we promised to keep it secret or whatever. I'm like, why? I would have been fine if like, why? Why was that a thing that needed to be
to protect them? I buy it.
From
and also, I think it kind of comes down to Piccolo being the one to spill the beans because he brings up the Dragon Balls. Because he brings up the Dragon Balls, which gets Vegeta and Nappa interested, so they show up to Earth. And then is it Nappa who brings up like, he's a Namekian, right? And they're like, okay, well maybe they have Dragon Balls. And then Frieza's like, hey, I'm going there. So it's kind of because of their interactions, it's kind of their fault.
I like that. I didn't think about that, so I just thought of it from a perspective where like Goku is saying this because of this story. He's not saying it just like He could have gone the whole time without Goku like thinking, they need to be protected. It's like, no, they're just over there and no one really knows about them because why would they? We're not going to announce to the world that they're out there, but retroactively, I like your explanation of that. That makes more sense that he knows that's actually intended.
Mm-hmm.
And so Goku's like, hey, I'll figure out where this Moro guy is. Let me just feel him out. And Moro's like, what?
Yes, how fucking cool is that? How fucking cool. And Goku's like, don't sense him because he's onto it.
He could sense you back.
What a way to make your villain seem so imposing. Just that alone. Just like,
right?
Damn.
Doesn't have to lift a finger.
It's kind of in the same vein as like Metal Cooler being able to instant transmission with Goku. Like it's like, whoa, you got this.
Right?
And then this is where I'm talking about, like, I love the way Goku is written here because Goku's like, I know that direction. That's New Namek. That's when I met Dende there. Super Goku, anime Goku would be like, I went to Namek. I remember. I sure was a long time ago. Waku,
what a coincidence.
Yeah. But no, in the manga, he clocks it, and then he's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
This is bad news bears. So they can only be going there for a very specific reason, which, of course, is not a good time. I can't remember, do they actually get to New Namek at the end of Volume 9, or is it not until 10 when Moro lands?
So Goku and Vegeta teleport ahead of the Galactic Patrol, and then they meet Moro head-on Namek.
Yeah.
And then Moro says something, he says, it was my good fortune to have even an ounce of magic returned to me before my life expired. And I kept trying to think back, was there something in Dragon Ball or in Super that would have happened to have been that catalyst? And I can't really think of anything.
Like a Bojack thing? Like how Bojack was unleashed because Kaya was killed?
Right. Yeah, some other thing that happened to have this consequence, but I can't clock anything.
I don't know.
There is something later on, it's in volume 10, where he brings up that he was able to absorb energy to help break out on when they were in prison. So it makes me wonder, I don't think we ever get to see like what his prison system was like, because presumably they're like, he can absorb energy. Was he like, kept insulated from everybody? Because like if you get too close, he's going to absorb your energy and he'll be able to use more spells and it'll be bad news. And like somebody gets too close, like, oh, there's a thing broken over here. I have to go fix it. Oops, I'm actually too close. I imagine them
keeping him in like a Magneto style prison with the glass case around him. That's what I envision.
Right.
But no, they do make it on New Namek by the end of they're even like mid
That's
Super
right.
Saiyan God fight. But I want to bring up something first because it was just a funny thing. Like Ken was saying, how Vegeta's very much like I don't want to fight with you side by side, but then when it comes to it, he does. It's this moment too, where before on Earth, they're like, "Oh, Boo's been kidnapped." Vegeta grabbed my hand, instant transmission. He's like, "No, I can just fly there in 5 seconds." But then when it's like time to go to Namek, there's no discussion. Vegeta just grabs Goku's hand and then goes. Like when it's time, it's time. Vegeta's not that guy. Like he can swallow his pride. I don't know, but it's good storytelling. It's good character storytelling.
Right. There's a moment when they're about to, do the whole fight with Moro where it's like, obviously it would be so out of character to do it, but I'm like, remember the last time they stood side by side to do a fight on Namek? And then Vegeta just booked it, and he's like, never mind, I'm leaving. Like, what if he did that again?
The Dragon Balls, huh? Man. They're just
Vegeta
so
has
Vegeta's an addict to Dragon Balls.
Yeah. Vegeta has the opportunity to do the funniest thing of all time right here. But Moro lands. Obviously, how do we solidify this dude's a bad guy? What if I absorb a child? That's a good way to start.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. Small boy, you will be my meal.
And that is the same Eska from like when the one that gets killed by the door.
Cargo. That Cargo. So this is
the other half of the Eska.
The other half, yeah. I don't know. I would say I don't know if they're related. Like literally everybody on this planet is related.
Right. They're running out of pun names for snails, so they gotta be.
Well, they go back some more for this arc.
Yeah. So
Vegeta says, and this is like one of the best parts, is Vegeta like reckoning for what he's done in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
He murdered a whole village of people on Namek, and those people never got wished back because at that point Vegeta was not a member of Frieza's army.
Men. Yeah.
And they make a whole point out of that. When someone's like, hey, I can't find Billy Bob's village. And Vegeta's like, ha ha ha, that's because I wasn't a member of Frieza's army at that point.
He gloats about it.
Sucks to be Billy Bob, huh?
Yeah.
And so for him to say, I have a troubled history with these Namekians, I did them untold harm, so no, I can't allow even one more of them to perish. It's like, dude.
It's so good. And it also explains later, like, how Cranberry is alive and still doing a thing. Like, oh yeah, he was killed by one of Frieza's men, basically. Like, he's probably the only one of Frieza's soldiers that was killed by one of Frieza's men.
It's one of those hilarious loopholes that led to him coming back, yeah.
Yep. Gosh, that's good. So I think then they just kind of launch into the fight because Vegeta is like, I want to make sure that I protect this planet. So he's the one that kind of goes first. And we got him in base form and then Super Saiyan and then God.
And then Cranberry's like, why is Vegeta here?
Yeah, I love that little nod of Vegeta.
And then, like, anything from Cranberry's point of view is so good. Just be like, what? Yeah. Like, because he's been... out of this whole plot for decades.
He's a guy who was once in the know, but it's been a long time since then.
A minute.
Right. Oh, it's so good.
That takes us to volume 10.
Yeah, man, we're here. We're in volume 10, guys. So this one gets wild. We've got Moro attacking on Namek, Vegeta dealing with his magic attacks, and it's kind of a different fight because Moro isn't this big, strong powerhouse or even this small little diminutive guy that's like, oh, I'm not strong, but I am actually.
Yeah, he's basically just like kind of levitating them and then moving fire around, but still it's more interesting than what we would usually run of the mill, like just punch kind of thing.
Yeah, and he's like, these attacks are as strong as the planet itself. Like, I can use this planet's energy against you, dude. It's not like, you're going to fight Namek itself? Come on, bro.
And this planet has quite a bit of, natural energy sort of thing, which I suppose makes sense. I mean, it's not being polluted or anything because there's just these green guys that are out planting plants.
All these vegans.
So it's all good here. Vegeta, easily able to take care of some things, like Moro brings up some trees to throw at him, which I'm like, oh, okay, Goldo did that back in the day, but Vegeta just one little laser and it's gone. Like, oh, okay, well, that's not going to work on you.
Doesn't Vegeta say something like, we've encountered all sorts of bizarre techniques over the years? This is nothing.
Yeah. Oh, so good. And then Moro kind of turns it up a notch. He's got, a huge fire erupting and lava coming out of the core and everything. And Vegeta has to, go all out. Super Saiyan God is kind of getting charred up and stuff, where he's like, oh man, I can't do this. This is going to keep on going. I don't have anything left in the tank. And Goku's like, what?
Yeah, the little panel of him being like, huh?
Yeah.
You'd better just tell me what you want because, whatever, I'm going to die anyway. Oh, okay, well, I want to absorb all this and I'm going to get all my magic back and then I'm going to eat planets and it's be a good time,
Yeah.
And then, oops, psych, Vegeta's got way more power hiding in there because, like we had said before, God is very balanced and blue gives you a huge burst in strength, but you can't fight in it for very long. So easily overpowering Moro.
I love how it just appears too, just from his feet, kind of rising up to his body, Super Saiyan Blue, the energy, and then just let's go.
And so now he's kind of got Moro on the ropes, but then Goku starts to notice, wait a second, what's going on here? Something is going strange. There's all these lights, and also the attacks aren't landing as well as they would be.
And then Vegeta powers down, tired.
Right.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. That was me thinking is the forms dealt differently in the manga than it was in the anime? Why does he just turn it off when he's not using it? That's kind of different.
Right. I was trying to reread that panel of is he just exhaling and powering down consciously, or is he just whew, I'm tired, and then doesn't realize that the power up is gone because
that's what I was starting to think too. As I kept reading, I'm oh, it's just a Beerus versus Goku thing where he didn't realize he's not God anymore, but he's still going. But
I think he realizes it, but I don't think he realizes that letting go, he's not going to be able to hit it again.
Right. Because then we get that great thing well, I guess I'll just have to go all out, and screams and powers up, and then nothing. Goku's go on, do it.
I love the puff of clouds coming up around him. Toyotaro has a good way of just showing art, and I will say this about in the opposite direction, where it's he's no Toriyama. The art very feels not. It feels different and not God level Toriyama. But how can you compare it to that level of artistic feats?
Yeah.
Well, I think, Doug, for you, it especially helps. It helps, I think, for me and Randy, if you read it this way as well, reading the full color version.
Yeah, it looks great in the color that you guys gave me and everything. And I will take this over AF any day, where it's just straight up copy of Toriyama's art. I'm not saying this is bad. I'm enjoying this. I'm just saying it's no Toriyama.
Right, but that's a high bar.
It is a high bar.
Even to talk about the Blue Aurum stuff with the Macarena gang, Doug, in the original version of the manga, that's all varying shades of grayscale. Oh. And it's really muddy, but then you read the full color and it's bright blues and purples and
very obvious. And I guess a way that Toriyama made it work was that the blue form, the way the aura is kind of more bubbly, so it's a little more obvious when it's in that form. I like that idea.
Yeah, he has had to express the forms in different ways because of the medium.
Yeah.
Where obviously it's different in the anime. They can just be boom, pop blue.
Color, yeah.
Yeah, and so he has to come up with different ways to express it.
They're not skinnier in God form. I mean, they're probably skinnier, but it's not an obvious skinny like it was in Battle of Gods.
It is, especially with Vegeta, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can, if you look at his legs, they are teeny, skinny bird legs comparatively to what they are normally. But, not a thing we touched on, I suppose. Something we should have done for the temperature check was, seeing how Doug feels about the art, because this is kind of his first time really ingesting a lot of
you guys
Toyotaro.
Really gave me, I'm kind of glad I waited, because I got this pristine version. It's in color. It's got good translation. Yeah.
Yeah, for the listeners, I went through and I replaced every instance of Hercule that I could find
with
Satan just for Doug. Because I know how much of a trigger point that is.
That really is, yeah.
Maybe a little bit for yourself too. I would, if you want to go through and do another pass, if you could take out all instances of chi and replace it with ki for me, I'd really appreciate that.
I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Well,
I'm used to it.
I know. So Moro's doing his power absorption thing. Goku and Vegeta can no longer attain their higher forms. Vegeta's just, I cannot turn Super Saiyan. Like, it's done. And I'm stuck here.
Goku can't teleport to get them out of there. Which is so great. Yeah. So GT had the workaround of Goku was a kid and not strong enough. But this is like, oh, we have to get rid of it. Well, he just can't. The power's gone. So he just can't do it.
We have more setup things of like really upping the stakes. We cut to Beerus and Whis. Beerus having a fishing contest with the Oracle fish, and Whis kind of notes like, "Hey, stuff's not really going great on planet New Namek right now." And Beerus is like, "Man, you know what's so great is that nowadays there are like planet busters that keep showing up. I don't even have to do my job; they do it for me." It's like, "Oh, are you not gonna go help?" And he's like, "They don't got food; they just drink water. Screw that place." Yeah. So it's like, these two are not coming to help Goku, right. Unlike all the other times. There's like, well, Beerus could always just show up and like fix things, like
which is a horrible scapegoat, but like it's a good way to get him out of the story, kind of.
Right. Makes me wonder: is this the reason why we chose New Namek? Of just like, I gotta write Beerus out of here.
Oh my god,
he's a great character, but
so it works for so many reasons then, because it's got to be the Dragon Balls and it's got to be the non-Beerus edition. It's a stroke of genius, Toyotaro. There's so many reasons to have things happen on New Namek here. So yeah, Moro is like kicking Vegeta's ass, and there's one shot of like Goku that looks so badass, and that, like, I think it's the first page of this next chapter, and it just like Goku's like, "Stop you," and it's like, I don't know, it just looks really good.
There's some all good of
the post tournament of power stuff. Toyotaro has been really good about like, okay, Beerus and Whis had their place in time, and we probably overused them. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to find a way to really not have them be that involved in future arcs.
Yeah.
It's a real like Zeno button plot thing if you keep using
and it's not like they're gone. I mean, Doug, they have instances in this arc and in the next one, and then of course you have seen Superhero. Yeah. So they're not like written out of the series a la Lunch or anything. Right. But yeah, Toyotaro said like, this story is not about them. Like, let's push them away.
Yeah, I like that.
You know who it is about, though? It's about Bulma needing to, figure out what's going on because they've been gone for, was it 3 weeks at this point?
I think, no, just 1 week.
Yeah. Oh, 1 week. That's right.
Which is still a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, definitely. So she's like, I got to figure out what's going on. I'm going to go talk to Tights. Like, whoa, we're tying Tights into this. That's great. Because, of course, she would have a connection to Jocko and goes over there, uses her phone.
This is the first time in the manga where she's mentioned or introduced?
No, she's in Universe 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because was it Universe 6? I would have figured it was Resurrection F. Well, that's right. There wasn't a Resurrection F arc in the manga.
Tights is not in Resurrection F. She's in the Universe 6 stuff where I think it's another similar thing of they're trying to get in touch with Jocko.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Because they have to go talk to that guy who knows a lot of stuff. Zuno or whatever.
Zuno. Yeah.
They're trying to go find Zuno.
Wait,
no, Zunama is the dragon god guy.
Yeah.
Zuno is the guy who knows a lot of stuff.
The fortune.
And what is the thing that one evil dragon in GT says on that one planet where they had to have Trunks dress up as a lady?
That's Zunama. So who am I thinking? Salam, something
so
like that.
I think that's the super dragon.
Zalama.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got all of our names mixed up, but we figured it out.
Dragon?
Yeah.
So things are not going great for Goku and Vegeta. Moro kind of kicks the crap out of them and leaves them for dead. And they wake up 3 days later.
Yeah.
Oh,
did I step on your toes, Ken? Did you have
I was thinking about how he grabs their throats and then like pulls the balls out of them. And then the life leaves their eyes.
Yeah. That was scary. I'm like, oh God, they're dead.
Right? It's like, let's leave them here. That's fine.
Like, it is so cool how Moro has like Goku pinned to the ground and then gets his hand out and like gets Vegeta from there. Like, has him both right there. That's so, it's good shit.
So they've been out for 3 days. That's where I got the 3 weeks. I was thinking, A week, 3 days, got them mixed up. So they've been out for 3 days. Meanwhile, Moro's just been taking his time, getting all them Dragon Balls, him and Cranberry working together to hunt them down. Cranberry going off of the same tactic that Frieza did, which is like, okay, I'll use my scouter, we'll find a group, which is going to be a village, and that's where they've got to be hiding a Dragon Ball, so we're going to keep doing that. And so they're just kind of like, we got nothing. We're going to have to sit here, lay low, get healed up, get our energy back because we're completely tapped out. So not in any...
Not that you mentioned it, is it 3 Namek days or 3... Is that 3 Namek days could be like 3 weeks?
Unless stated otherwise, you should just assume that it's 3 normal days.
Gotcha.
Right. Even though doesn't Muri is the one that answers like how long is... Yeah, it'd be weird. I don't know.
Just,
yeah.
He doesn't translate for their time frame.
Oh yeah, he's a smart cookie. So they're like,
Eska's the healer, and he can't heal Goku and Vegeta back all the way, like only enough so that they are alive and can sit up.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I thought he did. That makes what happens later even better. Okay.
Yep, exactly. So they are conscious, but they are not in fighting shape at all. And Muri kind of fills them in like, here's what's been going on. Like everybody in these, villages are kind of being destroyed, to get these Dragon Balls. But we've got fusion. So we're going to do something about this guy ourselves. And we've got all these warriors fusing together to go fight Moro.
Oh, assimilation, Doug.
Yes.
You scared me. I'm like, I didn't catch that part. The Mechians.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
It's very short because we've got all these heroes flying in. They're going to stop Moro. Really they fuse together.
They're like mid-fusing, assimilating while they're like flying towards the place. Like I need your soul and body. And like they're like, that's what I'm here for.
And then that top-down view as they're all flying, and you see the multiple like go into one, and then it's just one from then on.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's so cool.
So cool.
This guy's gonna kick ass, and then Moro kills him immediately by just one hand through him, not even looking.
There's a lot of one-handed deaths going on in this arc. I feel like I've already seen 20 in these 3 chapters.
Well, turns out Moro doesn't need to look for energy to find the Dragon Balls, because he can just straight up sense Dragon Balls.
Sense Dragon Balls. I wonder if that'll
been around him long enough.
Maybe.
Well, he's magic, so for him to be able to kind of like resonate with some other magical thing.
Balls. Yeah. Oh man. Mm-hmm. Magical Beginnings. Is he part of that movie?
And then we go back to Earth. Piccolo and Dende are like, something's going on.
Something's up. Yeah. My Namek senses are tingling.
Well, it's the antenna. They wiggle, I think, when something is happening on Namek. So they're starting to be in the know that things are going on. Goku and Vegeta still out for the count. But they're going to go try and do something. But then, help has arrived. Merus shows up, ties up.
Randy, I'm going to reach through the screen and shake you because you're skipping over the best part. Where
okay, well then.
Vegeta is like, to Muri, he's like, hey, I got to ask you something real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you guys okay with me? And then Muri's like, hey, we don't forget. But, like... we don't hold grudges. All we care about is peace.
We just want peace, yeah.
Yeah, and then Vegeta goes to Goku and is like, hey, when this is all done, like he's already talking like he's not making out of this.
Finality,
make sure New Namek is brought back the way it should be. Yes. And it's like, Vegeta! Yes.
That's why I was so, like I said earlier, I was so, like, I was in my own headcanon. I'm like, I wish Vegeta, when he first arrived in Namek, was very, like, in a goofy way, like, how am I saying? Like, to everyone, like bowing to all the Namekians because he feels so bad. But that wouldn't serve this whole kind of thing Vegeta's doing now. Like, I wanted my hokey joke, but no, take that out. This deserves it more.
Mm-hmm. Atonement is kind of what we're going for.
A good tone for the atonement.
So, yes, sorry. I even put that in the notes. I'm like, this is so good. And then I just skipped it like a bonehead. So, finally, Merus and Boo arrive. Merus has this new special technology to, kind
Merus and Boo. Like, this story keeps getting better and better.
I know. Merus has some technology. He can, trap Moro, but not for long. Boo lands. He's awake, sees Moro, and immediately remembers, he's like, I remember this dude. And the memories are unlocked.
Jocko says that the Galactic Patrol has a galactically licensed medium, hypnotist, and aromatherapist.
We busted out all the guns.
Yeah, we skipped over the Jocko joke where it's like, when they're first getting indoctored into the Galactic Patrol, it's like, you follow the rules. Don't use your Galactic Patrolman to pick up chicks, and something else.
Don't skip in line.
Don't skip in line. Yeah.
There's a lot of great humor in this arc. So our apologies for skipping over it. And just
not really, but
it
is Jocko that has that humorness, like Toriyama humorness in there. You know that.
There's
really
other
enjoy.
Stuff. We'll meet the Galaxy King and all that, and there's always a good thing there. So they're here, and it's going to go great now because Boo's kind of got those memories unlocked. His strength is through the roof. They're able to... Boo is special, you know? Like, Moro is like, I'm going to punch right through you. And then like, okay, cool, I healed. I'm going to blast her head off. Like, okay, now I turned my hand into a head. What are you going to do?
That was so cool. It is such a Boo thing, too. Like, oh yeah, we forget we have this creature Boo who just can regenerate on the dime. And like... I was kind of hoping that, like, when he did regenerate his face into his, like, hand, that he would, like, clap back with another blast from his mouth as well. Because that's how he gets his head blown off, is like a blast from Moro. So I'm like, oh, yeah, back at you. But, yeah, whatever. It's still a good punch. Like, a good fake out. Like, ha-ha, ba-boom was a good one.
I can't remember if it's Goku or Vegeta's just kind of like, his weird body really is helping us this time, which is good, versus last time, where it was really kind of annoying.
There's even a part early on in this arc where when Bulma first tells Goku and Vegeta that they're kidnapping Boo, Vegeta says like, hey, it's easy to forget, but that dude is like crazy strong. Like, how are they doing that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and they even mentioned here later on that it's like, yeah, Boo's even stronger than whatever.
Yeah, unlocking his memories unleashed his latent potential.
Yeah,
Merus-y assumes.
I mean, we do get this kind of battle similarly to like him versus the Kid Buu fight, where it's like only these two people are able to fight with each other toe to toe in these head decapitating ways, and it's really cool to see. But this is a whole new thing where it's Moro. It's still a welcome thing to see. I love it,
and you really understand
Buu just like funny fighting, and like he does like the Tenshinhan move with the multiple arms, which I now call the Tonson Arts SH Figure Arts third party figure, the Trunks. But yeah,
beautiful.
I know what you're talking about, Doug.
Thanks.
You really have to kind of give some leeway to the super crew, whether it was in Toriyama's draft or not, of why you really have to sideline Buu, because he can just do this stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really kind of reminds you. Yeah, you can't just have this dude loose. You know,
it was Beerus before Beerus.
Wild. So how does this fight go? Because Boo has all these special abilities, but Moro's got his magic, which they also note. Boo's not getting weaker. His magic absorption doesn't work on Boo.
Very important to note. Yeah.
So then Merus-y says, "All right, use the sealing technique now," and then the sky turns dark.
Oh, the timing is so good. Because at first I'm like, oh, is this his move? And it's like, nope. Even Goku's like, no, I know what that is.
Cranberry has Eska connected to him via technology so that he could, make him speak in Namekian to get the wishes made.
Cranberry just introduced him to VR Fortnite, and so the kid's like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. This is incredible. Whatever you say.
So Cranberry makes a wish, because he's kind of beaten and bloody to a pulp. So he gets himself brought, kind of back to normal. He's like, oh man, these wishes are no joke. This is great. Can't wait to make more of these. But Moro has other plans.
Waste of a wish, though. Like, I think you would only use that with prior knowledge to Dragon Ball the series. Like, just heal my body.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Do you like pain, Doug? Do you like, your skin being all charred up, possible bones broken?
You have a wish to... Well, okay, maybe, yeah. If like, your bones are broken, yeah, maybe.
He's just a dude.
It's a wish to do anything.
He specifically says he's on his last legs. Like, he is
He does
near
say that,
death.
yeah.
Yeah. So, it makes sense to me. And then Moro shows up. And
hold on. Murray's dead.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? Because isn't the dragon tied to him? So why is the dragon still around?
Oh, maybe it's tied to a kid. Maybe they changed that behind the curtains.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Who would do that?
So, right. So Moro shows up. He makes some wishes. Do we get to what we get to? We don't hear the third, but what's the second wish that he makes?
The second wish he has Cranberry make, which is to
regain
restore
his full magical power.
Right. but we don't know the third wish yet.
Which is, I love that we don't know the third wish. Like that's so great. Like, yes, give me some mystery in this whole thing, and even up to when Goku and Vegeta confront him, it's like you'll see soon enough, and then he just dips out.
Yeah, Moro just like whoop, 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 gets out of there. And then Boo heals Eska, which, if you don't remember, he can heal people, as he did in the Boo arc. Kind of makes you wonder if that technique comes from the Daikaioshin now.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, it must.
Yeah.
And then he also is able to heal Goku and Vegeta back to full strength.
Yep. And then he's the Daikaioshin now.
Today's character of Majin Buu will be played by, and then the character comes in.
And that's kind of where we end, other than that really great Cranberry flashback of being able to see what was this dude's story, in case you don't know the minutia of all of Frieza's henchmen. I
mean, I was curious. I'm like, how did this guy survive? Like, how did anyone else but Goku and Frieza survive this planet destroying, but like, exploding?
Mm-hmm. It's such good stuff, man.
Vegeta space spotted. Made me think, like, was Vegeta space pod still just chilling there? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it would have just been chilling. So that kind of brings that to a close, and I think we need to visit a new corner. Ken, do you know a specific corner that we could kind of go chill at?
Yeah, this is the Ken's Timeline corner, where we're going to just talk about the timeline where we're at. There is no super focused Chozenshu or Daizenshu. We don't have an official timeline for this, but we can kind of put one together.
Okay.
So if we assume we're going to have to speak in relative terms here, okay? So if day 1 is when the Grand Priest announces that the Omni Kings are going to hold the Tournament of Power in 5 ticks or 40 hours, okay? So that's day 1, is announcing the Tournament of Power.
What?
2 days later, so day 3, is the Tournament of Power. And Bulma says that Boo fell asleep. No matter what, he won't wake up for another 2 months. So this kind of sets a time frame of when Broly happens and up to Boo waking up. Okay. Which Boo waking up would be on day... if we just kind of assume... I forget how I put the months here. Assume a month of 31 days. Then that puts us... Or a day... Anyway, it's day 60. 61 is what I have written down here, is when Boo wakes up. And then we have Muri saying that they slumbered for 3 full days. So that means day 57 in relation to the Tournament of Power being announced is when this happens. So we're just 2 months away from the Tournament of Power here, meaning that Broly happens in that 2-month span. The very final scene of Broly likely happening right before Goku teleports to meet with Vegeta at the start of this arc.
Oh, that'd be intense. Yeah, like right after that. Wow.
Because man. Goku tries to be like, oh, I was doing things.
He's very cavalier about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of where we're at. We're about 2 months out from the Tournament of Power right now. So probably still in age 780, unless the Tournament of Power was later in the year, then we're pushed into 781. But
in the beginning, I was confused. I thought you were talking about like you were doing a timeline of the entire Dragon Ball series. So when you were like,
day 1
in day 1 of the entire universe, they announced Tournament of Power in 40 hours. I'm like, how many is 40 hours in their perspective? That's crazy.
So good. We're learning. We're learning about our time, learning about our history. But it's time to look forward to the future. So, Doug, let's hear your predictions. And sorry to Jeff, who's not here to give his predictions, as if this
I
is
didn't even think about
GT review of awesomeness on the Kanzenshu podcast.
I don't really think about predictions because I'm very much like I like letting the story take me. But I will. I know I'll give something, but I don't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that. I love that. I love that I'm reading a story now where I'm like, yes, take me, show me where you're gonna go with this. So like, Moro out there has a third wish that he doesn't reveal, which I'm so like awesomely excited about. At first, I thought it was gonna be like a time travel thing because the chapter right afterwards is like showing Cranberry and his origins, or like it shows like Vegeta and Goku like first battling. They show like that time. That's the time frame. So I'm like, did Moro go back in time and like fuck shit up and like it's the time patroller type stuff and whatnot? No, it's just a Cranberry explanation. Okay, cool. But yeah, I can't imagine what his third wish is gonna be. Maybe he's wishing. I thought he was gonna wish to be younger, but that's not it. No, I don't.
That'd be way too King Piccolo.
I know that was almost too on the nose with that. So I'm glad he didn't go that way. So yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to track him down now that they can't sense his energy. That's also an interesting fact. Like, what? That's crazy. How do you find someone that you barely found the first time? I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, so that means he's got to do something big for Goku and Vegeta to find them again. Okay, I'm making sense of it.
Since I've been on this podcast, Doug, I have never heard you so excited about something.
I know. It's exciting to be excited about Dragon Ball material again. I'm so happy. Yes, I'm so happy you guys got me to read Super. There, you want to hear it? There it is.
Let it be known, Doug, you could have been this happy for so long.
No, I wanted to hold out until I can get Mr. Satan everywhere instead of Hercule.
I'm just glad that we didn't overhype this for you and that you're genuinely loving it.
I mean, the world kind of overhyped it for me anyway, but the story still delivered. It doesn't. It feels like a well comprehensible story. And compared after reading AF, I think you guys buttered me. Like I said, buttered me up with reading AF, reading all this other BS, watching GT. Yes, after going from that to this feels so nice. It's just like, okay, this is what stories should feel like.
It's so good. I'm glad that we waited because, for that first bit there, we didn't have Ken. And I think Ken brings a lot of love of this story. And also just like, I don't know, he's way more diligent about looking stuff up and, putting together timelines. And I'm just kind of like, oh, let's just forget about the whole Vegeta being like,
Ken loves
you feel
Vegeta
bad
moments,
about me?
so yeah.
I'm listening
too, but
to multiple Kanzenshuu podcasts or research. And then I'm like, Randy, you need to listen to this one too.
Yeah. Which has been a great big help. So you don't got predictions. You're just kind of like, I want to know what the third wish is. How are they going to find him?
Basically, yeah. I just predict that he's going to that Moro will do something big that'll reveal himself purposely, probably, or it's so big that he can't even hide it. So there's no point. He doesn't care. They're, like you said, these guys are insects to him now that he has his full magic back. So
where do you think they're going with the Dai Kaioshin being around?
Oh yeah, that's so interesting. I don't know. And now that he's taking over the role of Majin Buu, I mean, what's the point there? I don't know. I have no really idea.
Doug's predictions are, I'm overwhelmed at how good this is, and I have no idea where they're going to go, and I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah. I trust in Toyotaro. He knows what he's doing now.
Well, I'm excited. I'm bummed that we got to wait a while to read more.
I know.
Ken, what are we doing for the next one? Are we doing one volume? Are we doing two? What's the plan here?
Just one.
Just
go one volume at a time. We'll do the next 3 episodes will be 1 volume each, and then the one after that will be the final 2 volumes of this arc.
Okay.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Was volume 10 really just like 4 chapters?
Yeah, they're 40-page chapters, so
oh, okay.
Broken up
so that does compile like a thick regular tankobon sized book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got them.
I think it's like 160 some pages.
Dude, how close I am to just like buying the manga again. Just like, oh, now I have.
Well, I think you have a couple digital because I bought some for you. But you, of course, you buy them how you want to.
I had the first 9, I think, volumes physical form. So I want to, and I'm a physical collector. As I don't know if you've noticed, I'm a physical media.
Oh yeah.
Person. So I need
these are like $4 a pop.
Yeah,
Doug.
Well,
so,
$9 on Amazon.
But if you buy them in bulk, I'm talking about the Japanese version.
Oh, really? What?
Buy them in bulk, yeah. Okay. Amazon Japan. Just order them all together and ship them.
I just might. My collection does compile of like Japanese manga, English manga, kanzenban manga, and everything. So yeah, I might just do that.
The big bummer here is the full color one is a digital only release in Japan. You're not going to be able to really get that anywhere. You can't even buy...
I need you to make a custom volume for me and put together...
Oh, yeah. Let me just do book binding for you,
Yeah, maybe wait for AI upscaling to get a little better. So we're not using this waifu 2X version that we're reading.
A dozen a pinch. I'll take that over the super low res regular ones that they got. So
I think even without the color, even without the corrections that you did with the naming and everything, this is still a good story that I would have dug back then. It's got the Doug's Doug approval on it.
The Doug's Doug, I love it.
Or Doug Doug's.
Doug digs it. It's Doug's Doug.
Dig Doug.
All right. So we're gonna leave it there for a break, and then we're going to come back with a whole lot more show, so stick around. All right, we're back here to hear what you guys had to say about stuff. I'm so distracted. These boys. Doug, what are you showing off? Ken, what are you showing off here?
SDCC event exclusive Son Goku and Gohan with Kinton.
Oh.
And I'm showing off SDCC exclusive Nightwing's ass with Kinton.
Both I would pay $100 for on Premium Bandai. So Ken, I don't you're missing out, buddy. This thing looks so good in person, dude. It's so good. For those who don't know, I have a friend who hooked me up who went to SDCC and was able to get this to me. So thank you, Toby.
Toby, you're everyone's hero. Toby Maguire, the one and only.
I know Serena Carpenter and Toby Maguire. I had them both on speed dial.
So we just got done talking about what we had to say about these volumes of Moro. But as always, Ken, manning the social medias, put out the post on X, asking people what their thoughts are about Moro's opening salvo in volumes 9 and 10 to let us know. And also, no future spoilers, because one of the three of us has not read this before.
Yeah, now I'm like, please don't spoil this for me. I really want to enjoy this.
So I'm going to take this first one here from Cage, who had to say, one of the coolest openers to an arc in the whole franchise, in my opinion. Reading this as it released was a really special time. It was so nice to have Boo actually get a major role in the story after being left out of the Tournament of Power. Yeah, when we first had that like lineup of everybody who's going to be in the tournament, I'm like, Boo, sweet. Like, that guy is around. He's strong. There's no reason why he shouldn't be there. And then, of course, the story happened as it did.
Yeah, he gets taken out immediately. Yeah, he's right. It's a really solid opener. Like, and it gets like into it pretty quickly, and like to the point where you see like Boo like going all out, like 100%. It's great. I like it.
Now, that was a bit, because that was, a good 7 months into this whole arc, Doug, of just like Boo having that fight, because we had to have Boo getting kidnapped. We had to have the whole Macaroni gang being stopped on the train, which was a whole thing.
You mean 7 months in time, or 7 months in real
7 months
time?
In real world time to get to the point where Boo is fighting Moro, because these chapters came out monthly. So
monthly. Oh man, see, that's why I wanted to wait. This is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to wait. I wanted to just read them all in one go.
Plan all along.
Yeah, there's receipts of me saying that. So yeah.
Okay.
It kind of turned into me not having faith. Like, I don't care. Like, at a certain point, I was like, I don't care. But now I care. I care.
Ken, why don't you give us another one here?
Yeah, Jacob Sawyer writes in, thank you, Jacob, but we're going to have to heavily redact some of the stuff you've written in this tweet. Doug does not have the tweet pulled up. He's not looking at these. So if you're interested, you can go click on the tweet and scroll down to see Jacob's full comments. All I can read from this, though, is some of the best Boo moments are in these chapters.
Nice. Agreed.
And then a bunch of other spoiler stuff.
And then a bunch of, where it's just Kermit the Frog jumps in and saves the day.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jacob. And from what I'm reading here, agreed. So I'm going to give you this next one here from the Tomes of Evil Podcast Network. Seems pretty familiar. If you didn't know, and we told you last week, Ken and I were on the Tomes of Evil podcast recently to talk about Moro as a villain. So this is all kind of fresh in our minds and hearts. Nice.
And that's also really just about like half of what we talk about in that podcast. It's just a really great discussion about all sorts of nerdy stuff. I highly recommend checking that out. We had a great time being on Tomes of Evil.
Being with Russell.
Yeah.
So we got this from Tomes, who says, Moro rules. I love how the beginning of this arc balances elements from Dragon Ball's past to make something new. Plus, I'm a sucker for a goat man. Also, if Doug hates on it, I will combust.
I'm happy to report, do not hate this. Actually love it, actually, so.
Good.
I was so worried. When we started, I was
You guys fought long and hard to get me here, and boy, am I here.
Boy, are my arms tired. Parker Rico writes in and says, the beginning to this arc is amazing, and I absolutely love Moro. From his design and to his powers, he is definitely one of my favorite villains from Super. Seeing Majin Buu kick some ass was also very refreshing, especially after his absence in the previous arc. Yeah. Also, let's all congratulate Doug for finally reading Super.
Hey, thank you.
I'm coming!
Trunks, settle down. He's only read the first 2 volumes. All right, so we've got Yokai Alone, who says, I remember reading these chapters back in the day and loving them, but I was kind of caught up in Dragon Ball hype at the time, so I thought I might have just been biased. But nope, I still love these chapters upon rereading them. Such a cool story Toyotaro cooked up for us so far. So far, it really feels like a mix of the best parts of the Frieza and Piccolo Daimao arcs with some hints of Boo and Red Ribbon Army arc vibes, which is like all of my favorite arcs, so I'm quite happy here.
It's all the arcs.
Yeah, man. This is all Dragon Ball, all rolled up into one. I love how past story details are used to shape the plot of this new story. I especially liked Vegeta getting to reflect upon his past actions at this point, utilizing Boo and the Dai Kaioshin, and poor idiot Cranberry's little role. It's not all perfect. Some bits don't land for me, but overall, very little that outright bothered me here personally.
Well, that's the thing is that like we've seen, it's not just that the fact that Toyotaro is bringing these elements from Dragon Ball Original to this story, it's that he's doing it well. Because we've seen, like in AF, things brought back from original story, but it's just not done well and just so dumb and convoluted. But this is super solid, and like when you see it, you're not like, oh, I get it. No, you're just like, oh, cool, yeah, that thing. You're Leonardo DiCaprio in that scene. You're like, got it, that right there, yeah.
And sometimes there are deep cuts where you have to be like, wait, what? And then you get a flashback chapter.
Cranberry. I'm like, are they going to name this guy? Oh, he already has a name? Oh, yeah, it's that guy. When I saw the Zarbon kick, immediately like, oh, that guy.
It clicked for you.
I was like, I was hating on Cranberry for the longest time because I'm like, it's just like human. Why did they pick the most boring looking henchman? It's like, oh, because he's the only one that would have survived in the actual story. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Ken, do you want to take this one, or do you want me to read this one from Saban?
Yeah, I'll read what, at first blush, is possibly the most unhinged reply we've ever had. From Saban, who writes in and says, Tobey Maguire got spit by a spider. See, Moro, it was a goat.
Versus my read on it is, Tobey Maguire got bit by a spider. See, Moro, it was a goat. So... You know,
and use some punctuation there.
That makes a little more sense to me. And he could mean goat as in GOAT, is the greatest of all time.
It's true. So double entendre there, Saban. Great job. Really appreciate that. So another thing I want to bring up, because it's not just the tweets that you can interact with us. We've also got some stuff over on Spotify. We got a poll for every episode. Granted, it's only open for the 2 weeks that the episode is out before the next one is up. So jump on it when you can. Last week's is kind of poking fun at myself. So we were talking about Dragon Ball AF. And if you remember, I did the recap for that one. And I did not remember Marble or Chioko's name. And I didn't bother looking it up. I just said, and some dudes from the Demon Realm whose names I forgot. So our poll was, did you remember the villains from the training arc of Gigi's AF? Top response, nope, forgot like Randy did. So 85% of people said they also forgot. So
well, fake AF fans.
More like real AF fans.
Oh, so thanks for that. Also wanted to point out a couple of things here. We had Amber Lynn R92 who says, love your podcast. You know what? Thanks. I love you and all that you do. So keep it up, Amber Lynn. Jacob Sawyer, a name we all know and love, and a man we all know and love, says, was great to have Jake on the show. Looking forward to Doug taking on Moro. Yeah, man, Jake is a good dude. I'm glad that we were able to lean on him and his love of reading trash manga with us. It was a good time.
Whoa.
Whoa, okay. Sorry. I wanted to get spicy.
My negativity is seeping into Randy. I'm sorry.
And yeah, man, I hope, Jacob, you're enjoying this episode as you're listening, because Doug is taking on Moro in a big way.
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. Just like I can't believe that it's time again for trivia.
You son of a bitch. You changed your cadence on me.
I gotta keep you on your toes, man.
I'm paranoid ever since Mike surprised me with trivia at Otakon. This is the most paranoid I've been every time. I'm going to be during the panel, the Akira Toriyama panel that Mike had at Otakon. I was like listening. I'm like, man, I hope there's no like pop quiz at the end of this. Like, I legit thought that. I think come to find out and see my face plastered on the freaking big screen. Like, Doug, it's time for trivia.
Was it like a nightmare?
The most nightmare, dude. I'm just sitting there at this panel watching. I see my face on the screen for whatever reason. I'm like, why is my face my eyes pan up to the top? It says trivia at the very top. everything goes black. I don't remember screaming no, but there's footage of me screaming no during that exchange, and man, it was both my nightmare and like the best time ever. So.
If you haven't checked it out, everybody, please check out Kanzenshu's video up on YouTube, their Akira Toriyama career retrospective. It was a panel Mike did at Otakon this year. You can also check it out in their podcast feed. They've got an audio version along with some Q&A at the end. So check out both because you're going to get a different experience from both. So it's good stuff. I would recommend it. And then you get to hear Doug living through his worst nightmare.
I learned and didn't learn anything during that panel, but it was an enjoyable time. Like Mike's just a good presenter that it was very enjoyable to sit down and see in person.
All right, Doug, what was the name of Akira Toriyama's first published manga?
Wonder Islands.
There you go. You learned something.
Yep. Ken stole my thing. I was going to be like, well, we're going to test out to see if you did because our first question.
Never forget that ever again. Wonder Island.
All right. So, as always, trivia provided by the trivia deity Zenpai, friend of the show, friend of moms everywhere. It's decided. It's canon. First question for you boys. You know how trivia works. Buzz in, say hey, raise your hand, whatever it is, and you're going to win a point. So, question 1. In the manga, before deciding on Goku, Mr. Satan tries offering the prize money to someone else. Who does he try to offer the prize money to?
Oh. Do you want to go, Ken, or should I?
In the manga? Doesn't he try to give it to Vegeta?
He does try to give it to Vegeta. He refuses, saying he doesn't need it, which, of course, he's married to the richest woman in the world.
Yeah, he's ripping off taxis and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't tip, That's just what he does. Oh, good one, Ken. So you got a point. Question 2. In the future Trunks arc of the manga, there is one major difference from the anime regarding the character designs of Yajirobe. What is it?
Oh, yeah.
Say that again? Hold on, say that again for me.
All right. In the future Trunks arc of the manga, so Doug, you're not going to get this one. There's one major difference from the anime regarding Yajirobe's character design.
Ooh.
Oh, of Super?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Ken, go ahead. Did you forget, Ken?
Well, no, I was thinking of something else, so I really don't know. I mean, he's got the beard. Does he not have the beard?
I was thinking to
go
to immediately. Maybe he's missing his sword?
Well, he says here he's still sporting his mustache from the Boo arc. So mustache, or is it the full goatee? I don't know. I don't remember. I did not recently read the future Trunks arc of the manga.
I'm envisioning a full goatee in the anime, so maybe it is just a mustache in the manga.
Well, actually, yeah, I don't think future Yajirobe is in the manga, is he? And so it would just be the Yajirobe at Karin's tower, who then has the mustache,
Gotcha. Well, okay. That's that. Question 3, last one for you guys. In the manga, which character is Bulma thinking of suggesting to join Universe 7's Tournament of Power team before being interrupted?
Oh, yeah. It's Yamcha.
It is Yamcha.
She says Yam, and then ... and you see, like, Yamcha and his face is blanked out.
Nah, that's hilarious.
We love Yamcha in this house. Don't do that to me, Toyotaro. How dare you?
Yeah, that's like more like after the fact of like, oh, people are making fun of Yamcha, so let me write that into the story. It doesn't feel as natural, but yeah.
Told you guys I was prepping for these questions ahead of time. I assume we're done with trivia, right?
We are done. That was the end.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought the questions were going to be, what's the chapter where Daikaioshin shows up in the manga, which is chapter 508. And I thought it was going to be, what's the chapter where Cranberry first appears, which is chapter 247. Or what is the chapter where Cranberry dies, which is 253.
You hear that, Zenpai? Let's get more specific with these trivia questions.
I can store all sorts of stuff in my short-term memory if I have to.
Yeah, you can. Jesus.
But then it just becomes a battle between Zenpai and his
Ken. Because I'm not going to remember chapter numbers.
That's what GT was.
But we don't want that anymore because you guys upped the stakes too high where we were getting out negative points and calling out each other. It's too much. It was a war. It was a civil war, and I don't want to deal with it again.
That's why I specifically brought up the guy who drew Gia, because I thought that was going to be a thing. So I wanted to mention it to take away a point.
To get
I have to.
Yeah, man, damn.
Jeez, we've started all over again.
It turned from trivia to now a battle between the two.
It's tearing us apart, Lisa. Please stop. So that's the end of trivia, and that's kind of really the end of our show. So thanks for listening. We love interacting with you and keeping you in the conversation, talking about our favorite franchise in the world. And you can post at us on our socials at We Get a Pod, and you can email us at wegetapod@gmail.com.
Thank you to Rifti Beats for letting us use this track, Kakarot theme hip hop trap remix. You can find that track and other great music by Rifti on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Detective X on Twitter for as long as I leave that account open.
And Randy, where can they find you?
You can get me at Saber_Breaker. I don't really post anywhere much these days. I guess
Really?
the thing, no, not really. I mean, I got other things to do. I'm playing Advanced Adventure. Well, now I guess I'm playing Metroid Zero Mission. So like, I haven't got time to be posting. I don't got time for that.
Yeah. Get a life, posters. And you can find me at DrabazDoug, where I don't have a life, so I post on there all the time, and TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I'm everywhere. DrabazDoug.
So next episode, of course, will be volume 11 of Dragon Ball Super. Just the one volume this time, so might be a shorter episode. Who knows? So I think some pretty good stuff happens in the next one. So we might go like 3 hours on that alone.
How many chapters are in there? The same amount or a little
It's
less?
another 4.
5.
Okay,
Four
okay.
chapters. So
This is a quick read, so I'm glad we did these 7 chapters or whatever.
Yeah. It's a great arc, and it goes by in a flash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for listening. As always, make sure you subscribe, like, review, comment. Even if you comment about Doug keeping his toys in boxes, that's engagement, baby. We'll take it. Okay.
Yes. Tell me how much you hate it. Why do you hate it so much?
Yeah.
Keep doing it. It's engagement, and then also it gets us talking because Doug always pops into the group chat to be like, "These mothers."
Where am I gonna put them? This is the space you're looking at on the screen right now is all the space I have available to me. There's nowhere for me to pose them and have the boxes still. Don't throw away the boxes. I'm not throwing away the boxes. I love the boxes. They look good in the boxes.
And there are still like 9 figures on the way from Premium Bandai that he hasn't even gotten in yet. So watch out.
I've built shelves that they're full up. There's nothing else I could do. I'm sorry.
That recovery chamber tank figure that's coming out, the box is at least going to be like this big.
And I bought 2.
Imagine
of
the
them
size
bitches.
of a PS, like the original George Foreman PS3. That's kind of like what I'm miming here.
I don't watch One Piece. I bought Kaido. I don't know if you can see Kaido down there. Who's that guy? Don't know.
box.
Loved him. Found him for a good deal. Nabbed him.
And he's got like 4 of them back there. It's crazy.
No.
It's just too much.
No. Just
Ask him if he can
Omega
give you his,
Shenrons.
Just ask him
3.
for his
You're right, it is
duplicates.
3. There's no duplicates. There are no extras. All right, we're getting off today.
Yeah. So speaking of extra, let's not add any extra onto this episode, guys. And we will catch you, Matinator.
Bye.